The hip-hop world is buzzing tonight after explosive reports that young Joc, at 45 years old, has finally sent a legal notice to Kirk Frost, and fans are calling this move long overdue. It's 4 years. Joc and Kirk have shared a complicated history filled with friendship, betrayal, and business tension. But now, according to insiders close to the situation, Joc has decided he's done keeping quiet. Documents have reportedly been sent, and this time, it's official. From reality TV drama to off-screen financial disputes, their relationship has always been unpredictable. They were once brothers, riding the same wave, sharing opportunities, and defending each other in interviews. But cracks began to show when rumors surfaced that Kirk had allegedly mishandled business deals tied to young Joc's brand and music royalties. For years, fans noticed Joc dropping hints in interviews, saying things like, "Some people you call family start treating you like business." No one thought it would come to this until now, according to early reports. The legal notice centers around unpaid royalties, false representation, and possibly even defamation tied to incidents that took place during their time on Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. If true, it could expose years of behind-the-scenes tension between two of the show's biggest names. The question now is simple. Squashed young Joc to finally take legal action after years of silence? And how will Kirk, known for his calm, public demeanor, respond when the friendship he thought was unbreakable turns into a courtroom battle? The story of young Joc and Kirk Frost has always been one of loyalty tested, business blurred with friendship, and patience stretched to the breaking point. For nearly 2 decades, these two Atlanta figures have been connected through the music scene, through Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, and through the kind of brotherhood that only grows out of shared struggle. But as the old saying goes, money changes everything. And now, after years of rumors, quiet jabs, and emotional interviews, young Joc has reportedly decided to take a step no one thought he ever would. He sent legal notice to Kirk Frost. According to several sources close to both men, this legal move didn't come out of nowhere. It was the result of years of frustration over what Joc claims are broken promises, financial disputes, and disrespect behind the scenes. For a long time, he played it cool, brushing off questions about his friendship with Kirk. Whenever interviewers asked about money or tension, Joc would laugh and say, "That's my brother, man. We good?" But behind that smile, insiders say, the resentment had been building for years. To understand why this is such a big deal, you have to go back to the early 2010s when Love and Hip Hop Atlanta first hit VH1 and turned everyday names in the Atlanta scene into reality TV royalty. Young Joc, known for his hit It's Going Down, had already been an established artist, but the show gave him a second life in the spotlight. Kirk Frost, meanwhile, was known both as a manager and the husband of Rashida, another cast favorite. Their connection seemed unbreakable at first. They were two grown men in an industry built on chaos, leaning on each other for survival. But as time went on, fans started noticing subtle shifts. Joc would joke about money in interviews, hinting that he'd been shorted on something, or that "people I love forget I'm not just a storyline." At first, everyone thought he was being funny. Joc's known for his humor and sarcasm. But then came the interviews where the laughter stopped. "There's a difference between friendship and business," Joc said in one candid radio appearance. "When you mix the two, somebody gone feel played." Reports claim that tensions started over royalty disputes and business management deals. Allegedly, Joc had trusted Kirk with aspects of his publishing and music licensing decisions that were supposed to benefit both parties. But according to sources, Joc began to notice missing payments and discrepancies in what he was owed. He didn't confront Kirk immediately, not publicly anyway. Joc, by nature, is loyal. He kept things quiet, tried to resolve them behind closed doors. But as the years went on, the silence began to feel more like enabling. Then came the public cracks. During one Love and Hip Hop reunion episode, fans noticed Joc's body language when Kirk's name came up. He was polite but cold, nodding instead of speaking. It was subtle, but longtime viewers picked up on it. Online, fans began speculating that the brotherhood had been damaged long ago. Joc, "Don't mess with Kirk like that anymore," one fan wrote on X, formerly Twitter. "You can see it in his energy." Still, Joc never said anything direct. Until now. Insiders say the decision to send a formal legal notice was not impulsive. It was the result of careful deliberation. Joc had reportedly been working with attorneys for months, collecting receipts, reviewing contracts, and gathering proof. "He's tired of playing nice," one source said. "He tried to handle it like a man, but when people keep taking advantage of your loyalty, there comes a point where you've got to stand on business." The legal notice, according to preliminary reports, centers around unpaid royalties and possible mismanagement of funds related to joint ventures. It also reportedly touches on reputation claims that Joc feels his image and contributions to certain deals were downplayed or used without credit. That last part seems to sting the most. Joc has often spoken about being overlooked and underappreciated, even after years in the industry. For fans who've followed his career, this latest development feels like a long time coming. Young Joc has built a reputation as one of the most easygoing personalities in hip-hop reality TV. Funny, unbothered, and real. But even the calmest person can reach their limit. The phrase "finally sent legal notice" has been repeated by fans online as both a shock and a cheer. Some say it's justice. Others call it karma. Social media reactions poured in immediately after the story broke. "About time Joc stood up for himself." One comment read, "He'd been holding his tongue too long." Another fan wrote, "Kirk been walking around acting like the boss of everybody. Now let's see how he moves when the lawyers get involved." Still, others urged caution, reminding people that the two have a long history. "We don't know the full story. This could be deeper than money. It could be personal." A supporter posted, "For those who remember, this isn't the first time money drama has surrounded Kirk Frost. Over the years, he's been accused by others in the industry of being too controlling in business matters, though nothing ever escalated to court before. Kirk has always projected calm and composure, even when dealing with controversies involving his marriage to Rashida. But if these allegations are true, Joc might be the first person to actually hold him accountable in a legal setting, as one entertainment blogger put it. This ain't just paperwork. This is a message." It's worth noting that this isn't about greed for Joc. It's about principle. In interviews over the years, he's always emphasized fairness and loyalty. "You can't build success off shady deals," he once said on his morning radio show, "because the truth always comes back around." Those words, in hindsight, sound prophetic. The emotional impact of the situation runs deep. People close to Joc say he didn't take this step lightly. He really loved Kirk like a brother, one friend told a magazine. "He's not doing this out of spite. He's doing it because he's tired of being the nice guy while people play him." For Joc, behind the laughter and catchphrases, Joc had always been business-minded. People often forgot that before reality TV fame. He was a chart-topping artist with a string of platinum singles and a label under Bad Boy South. He'd seen the highs of the industry and learned its darkest lessons. How contracts could bury artists and friends could quietly take more than they earned. So when whispers began surfacing years ago that Kirk had been handling some of Joc's deals in a way that didn't add up, fans assumed Joc would address it quickly. But he didn't. He stayed loyal. Now, insiders say that loyalty was the very thing Kirk took advantage of. According to reports from close associates, young Joc discovered that royalties and licensing fees connected to several of his past recordings and television appearances had been routed through business entities connected to Kirk's management firm. The issue wasn't just the money itself, it was the secrecy. Joc allegedly found out about this not through his own audit, but through a third-party accountant reviewing his taxes. When he confronted Kirk privately, hoping for an explanation, things reportedly didn't go well. Kirk brushed it off. A source told one Atlanta entertainment blog. He told Joc it was a misunderstanding and that everything would be fixed. But months went by and nothing changed. Joc kept it quiet for as long as he could, but when you've got evidence in your face, silence starts to feel like self-betrayal. The tension spilled quietly into the public eye. Fans who followed Love and Hip Hop noticed that their chemistry shifted drastically in later seasons. Joc wasn't as talkative around Kirk, and his usual jokes felt sharper, tinged with irritation. In one reunion clip, he was seen muttering under his breath when Kirk tried to speak, a moment that fans replayed and dissected online. "That's not friendly tension," one fan commented. "That's years of disrespect finally boiling over." The turning point reportedly came earlier this year when Joc decided to officially review his finances and brand rights. Sources claim the audit confirmed what he had long suspected money was missing, and documents had been signed without his full consent. That was when his attorneys stepped in. The legal notice sent directly to Kirk's company allegedly outlined years of financial discrepancies, unauthorized business actions, and damages that could reach well into the six figures. Fans immediately began speculating about what this meant for their relationship. Some said it was the end of an era, a friendship destroyed by greed. Others felt this was simply Joc reclaiming what was his. "People think it's about betrayal," one supporter wrote online. But sometimes suing someone isn't personal, it's professional. Joc's protecting his legacy. Still, it was hard to ignore how emotional the fallout had become. These weren't strangers or distant business partners. These were men who had sat across from each other for years, calling each other brother. Kirk had been there for Joc during career slumps, personal struggles, and public controversy. To see it unravel into lawsuits and lawyers felt tragic. A producer who worked on the early seasons of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta put it bluntly. "We always knew they had a bond deeper than the cameras. But when business gets involved, things change. TV money is short. Royalties and licensing are where the real money lives, and that's where people start getting greedy." Meanwhile, Kirk Frost's reaction to the situation was reportedly a mix of shock and denial. A few days after the story broke, he posted a cryptic message on Instagram that read, "People love to flip loyalty into leverage when they can't control you anymore." Fans immediately interpreted it as a jab at Joc. The comments were brutal. "So you're calling him disloyal for wanting what's his?" one fan wrote. Another said, "Bro, just pay the man." Young Joc didn't respond publicly, at least not in words. Instead, he posted a photo of himself in a tailored suit, standing in front of a courthouse with the caption, "Business over buddies." It was a short message, but it said everything. The post went viral, with fans applauding his composure. "This is how you handle it." One comment read, "No drama, no rants, just paperwork." That single photo reshaped the narrative. Suddenly, Joc wasn't the punchline anymore. He was the professional. The man who had spent years being underestimated was now being celebrated for playing the long game. His silence wasn't weakness. It was strategy. Still, the emotional weight of the situation couldn't be ignored. Those who know Joc personally said this decision tore him up inside. He didn't want to sue Kirk, one friend revealed. He kept saying, "I just wanted him to do right by me." This isn't revenge. This is disappointment turned into action. As fans dug deeper, old footage resurfaced that hit differently now. In one clip from years ago, Joc and Kirk discussed loyalty. Kirk had told Joc, "You got a separate business and friendship." Joc laughed and replied, "That's easy for you to say. You always win in both." At the time, it was just playful banter. Now, it felt like foreshadowing. Industry veterans began weighing in. On a popular Atlanta podcast, one music executive explained, "People think reality TV beefs are fake, but this one's real because it's about contracts. Joc isn't just mad, he's proving a point that you can't keep. Treating artists like they don't read their paperwork anymore." That statement hit home. For a lot of younger artists watching the drama unfold, suddenly, Joc became a cautionary example not of scandal, but of growth. He's showing people that you can still demand respect at 45. One aspiring rapper tweeted, "It's never too late to hold people accountable." Still, not everyone was rooting for him. A small group of fans accused Joc of waiting too long, suggesting he only took action now because he needed money or attention. If it was that serious, why wait 10 years? One comment asked. But Joc supporters clapped back immediately because loyalty makes you patient. He gave Kirk every chance to fix it privately. He's not broke, he's just done being quiet. Just done being quiet. Meanwhile, Kirk's circle began tightening, according to insiders. He'd been advised to stay silent and let the lawyers handle it. Those close to him say he feels betrayed that he sees Joc's legal move as an attack on their brotherhood rather than a business correction. But others in the industry disagree. You can't call someone family and then play with their money, one Atlanta promoter said. You don't get to pick when loyalty applies. As the case slowly moved forward, the public realized this wasn't going to be resolved overnight. There would be hearings, documents, and more headlines. But beneath the legal noise was something deeper. A warning about how fragile trust becomes when business and brotherhood collide. At 45, young Joc wasn't just suing someone. He was reclaiming his narrative. The same man who once made everyone laugh was now reminding the world that he was also a businessman, one who finally decided to stand up for himself. And as one fan perfectly wrote under his courthouse post, it's not revenge, it's respect. By the time the dust began to settle around young Joc's legal notice to Kirk Frost, the story had evolved beyond gossip. It had become a conversation about integrity, maturity, and the cost of mixing business with brotherhood. The two men who once shared stages, laughter, and loyalty were now on opposite sides of a legal dispute that exposed the cracks in one of Atlanta's longest-running partnerships. And while the public only saw the headlines, those who knew them both said the emotional fallout ran much deeper. Young Joc had always been the kind of man who'd rather let his personality speak than his pain. On reality TV, he was the comic relief, the cool-headed one who could diffuse drama with a joke. But beneath the surface, Joc was strategic. For years, he had avoided confrontation, even when people played with his name. But now, at 45, something had shifted. He was no longer the punchline, he was the one calling the shots. Insiders close to Joc said the decision to go the legal route came after years of patience. He's not doing this out of anger, one friend explained. He's doing it because he's grown. He's realized that silence only benefits the person taking advantage. That statement reflected what fans had started to feel, that this wasn't about petty revenge or clout chasing. It was about legacy. Joc had built his career from scratch, only to see it chipped away by poor management and misplaced trust. Now he was reclaiming control, even if it meant severing ties with someone he once called family. The court documents, while still sealed, reportedly included claims of mismanaged royalties, unauthorized business use of Joc's name, and withheld payments related to appearances and endorsements. These weren't small issues, they represented years of accumulated frustration. And though Kirk Frost's camp denied any wrongdoing, public opinion was no longer on his side. In Atlanta's tight-knit entertainment scene, word travels fast. Suddenly, everyone had a story. Producers who said they'd seen tension brewing, castmates who admitted they'd felt something was off between the two for years. One industry insider said, Kirk always played the mentor role. But sometimes mentors forget that students become equals. Joc's not the kid brother anymore. He's the man holding the receipts. Still, for all the seriousness of the situation, what made it tragic was how personal it felt. Joc and Kirk weren't just business partners. They were brothers. They shared countless nights on the road, collaborated on projects, and defended each other publicly. Kirk was even one of the first people to congratulate Joc when he remarried, telling cameras, "That's my guy. We've been through too much to ever fall out." That same brotherhood was tangled in legal language and lawyer meetings. The emotional toll started showing in subtle ways. Joc, who was once everywhere hosting radio shows, appearing on podcasts, and dominating social media, suddenly went quiet. His posts became rare, and when he did share something, it carried a tone of reflection rather than humor. One caption read, "Sometimes standing on business means standing alone." It struck a chord with his followers, who flooded the comments with encouragement. "Keep your head up, King," one fan wrote. You're doing what real men do, fighting for your worth. Meanwhile, Kirk tried to maintain normalcy, appearing alongside his wife Rashida in their usual business ventures. But fans noticed the change. His comment sections were filled with questions about Joc. "Why'd you do your brother like that?" one person asked. Another wrote, "You can't preach loyalty and play dirty." Kirk never responded directly, but one posted a photo of him and Rashida smiling with the caption, "Real ones stay real through anything," was enough to reignite the firestorm. Fans called it tone-deaf. Behind the scenes, mutual friends were trying to mediate. According to reports, Rashida herself attempted to reach out to Joc privately, hoping to calm things down. "She doesn't want this to get uglier," said one insider. She told him she loves him like family and that there's still room to make peace. Appreciated the gesture, but made it clear the situation had gone too far to turn back. "It's not about hate," he reportedly told her. "It's about holding people accountable." That word accountability became the theme of the story. Fans began discussing how often loyalty blinds people in business. Podcasts, YouTube panels, and talk shows used Joc's situation as a case study. "This is what happens when you do business on a handshake," one commentator said. "At some point, you need paperwork, even with your brother." In a surprising twist, Joc finally broke his silence in a long-form radio interview. Sitting in front of the mic, his tone was calm, not vengeful, but resolved. "People think this is about money," he said. "It's not. It's about principle. I gave years of my life to people I thought had my back. I made peace with the fact that maybe I was too trusting. But now I'm just making sure my future don't look like my past." That interview changed everything. The fans' sympathy turned to respect. Joc wasn't ranting or... Before you scroll away, take a minute to think about what this story really means. Young Joc's legal notice to Kirk Frost wasn't just another celebrity feud. It was a lesson about respect, boundaries, and knowing your worth. For years, Joc stayed loyal, quiet, and patient. But loyalty doesn't mean letting people play with your name, your money, or your legacy. At 45, he proved something powerful. It's never too late to demand accountability. This wasn't about revenge. It was about closure. Joc didn't explode online or drag Kirk through gossip blogs. He did what real men do when they've outgrown betrayal. He handled it in silence, through action, through paperwork. And with his head held high, his story reminds us that friendship and business can be beautiful until it's not. And when it stops being mutual, walking away isn't disloyalty. It's self-respect. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is protect your peace, even if it means standing alone. We all reach that point where patience runs out, where silence becomes strength, and where peace is worth more than any partnership. That's the chapter young Joc just entered, the chapter of manhood, growth, and power. So before you judge the move, remember, standing on business doesn't make you cold. It makes you free. If this story spoke to you, follow, share, and drop your thoughts below, because this isn't just about Joc. It's about all of us learning to stop being silent when we deserve better. **